Let's break these down really quick. You have one objective, the final objective for the chapter. Explain how the origins of the English colonies, so nowhere else, varied as did their social and political systems. So you have three parts here. The origins, social systems, political systems. Now, you do not have to do every single colony here. Okay? You will just choose, I would just choose two colonies. Compare and contrast two colonies for here. So two colonies that you will use as an example for this objective. Two colonies, three parts. Origins, how did it start? Why was it created? Was it religious? Was it economic? Was it to alleviate prison overflow? Georgia. Social systems, political systems. Okay? Homework for tonight, Chapter 1 objectives. Those are going to be due Monday. I'm not going to collect those, but we'll review all of those in class, so it's just best practice to have them done and make slight modifications if you have to, compared to rewriting everything. Study for the Chapter 1 test, multiple choice, objectives in the document. You'll get the document tomorrow. We'll walk through it. It'll be the exact same document that will be on the test. Okay? Any questions? Mr. Kelly?
The document, I'm going to have to get the document on the test and write about it, correct? Or?
You're just going to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You won't actually write about the document itself. You'll just do the bulletin list between content, context, and critique.
Okay.
Okay. Just so you know, you all are being screencasted right now. I am recording everything in the room to be reproduced onto YouTube. If you don't want to hear your voice on the video, if you don't want to hear your voice on the video, or you know for a fact that your parents don't want anything involving you online, don't say anything in class. I do ask for relevant responses. That way, other hours, and you yourself, maybe you want to review this entire section, what we're doing here on YouTube, you can. Any questions?
What does like the test consist of, like going through it all?
Going through just Chapter 1 test?
Yeah.
The Chapter 1 test will look like this. You have 20 multiple choice questions. It'll be 20 points worth of credit there. 20 multiple choice questions. You'll have every objective, which I think there are 4. You respond to those in bulleted fashion. I've showed you exactly how to answer those, what I'm looking for. But you do have some options for them. Like, for example, you could compare, Ms. Rudd could compare two colonies here that are vastly different from what Mr. Kelly's doing. Okay?
What's the requirement for bullet points? 3 still, as it was for...
Depends. Like, for example, here, you're going to have 2 columns for your colonies, and then 3 points for each.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you have to ensure that you're thoroughly addressing the objective. Some of the objectives, as you'll see when we cover this course, will literally just be 3 bullet points and you're moving forward. Others are more difficult. Okay? As such will be your AP test. Then you'll have the one document. Like I said, it'll be the exact same one tomorrow. I will walk you completely through the 3C approach. You just have to be able to reproduce that on the test. Any questions?
So really the document analysis shouldn't be that hard. You just got to know how to...
No, it won't be that hard. And like I said, I'm going to leave that up all year long. Eventually, you won't know the documents in advance. For the first couple tests, I'll say, all right, everyone, it will be document D that you're working with. Maybe when we get to like Chapter 5, though, we'll cover several documents in class, and I'll say it's just one of them from the chapter.
Is the hidden message going to be a little bit like opinion-based?
Opinion-based. But you have, most of what we do here, especially in context, that's opinion-based, but you just have to tell me why you're coming to that conclusion.
Oh, so just have a reason.
Okay, so you'll see the first document you'll get is the Sokotan village. It's a painting. So you just have to extract information from that. Okay. You'll see tomorrow. It's definitely not difficult. Takes a little bit to learn the process, but once you have it, you just rock and roll. Okay. Your colonies, Jamestown. Now there's a lot going on up here. I would write exactly what you feel is the most important information. Okay, again, this will be available later, so write what you think is most important now. First permanent colony in North America. Okay, but we have already had St. Augustine founded, but by the Spanish. So that doesn't count because we're looking at the English colonies here. Roanoke was founded, but it no longer exists. So you can't argue that Roanoke was the first permanent colony. Jamestown is the direction that we're going here. Okay? Established by the Virginia Company. Instantly, you have to look to this right here. Virginia Company, if they are in the picture, we're looking at economic Wealth. We're looking at wealth accusation here. Receiving a charter from James I. What is a charter?
Like a donation.
A donation, but it can include a boat, it can include people, it can include resources, or it could just be cash. Okay, my charter to you all as explorers, I could just write you a check so you all get that, or like Miss Rudd said, I could just give you the boat I want you to use. Okay? Settlers suffered disease, internal strife, and starvation. Now, I want you to write down this. This was known as the starving time. Okay? Starving time. Tobacco, bless you, will essentially save this. But this is known as the starving time. Life is difficult. People, their outlook on the whole settlement itself is very bleak. Okay? Stabilized with tobacco. Your pre-quiz you all took involved indigo. Indigo is the first major cash crop. Tobacco will be the cash crop that's going to save your colonies, though. Okay? Burned to the ground during Bacon's Rebellion, 1676. Rebuilt, destroyed again. Okay? So looking at this sub-bullet point here, what is life like as far as involvement with locals? Bad. It's bad. It's not friendly. Okay? They're struggling, number one, by their resources, and struggling, number two, by natives in the area not wanting them there as well. Okay? So their life as a whole is the struggle bus. Okay? That colony is the bus, and you all are riding on it. Plymouth. Settled by religious separatists. Okay? Now here's where we're going to start differentiating how our colonies are founded. Jamestown is all about wealth. And these are things that you might want to note here next to their titles. I would put the symbol system in there. Why was it founded? Jamestown, wealth. Okay? Why is Plymouth founded? Religion. Okay? Religious separatists seeking autonomy from the Church of England. What is that known as otherwise?
The Anglican Church.
The Anglican Church. Very good. Now, what is autonomy, though? If I said that the United States is an autonomous nation.
Free.
Free. Able to govern oneself. Okay, similar to sovereign. You are able as a society to govern oneself. 1620, Pilgrims sailed on the Mayflower after receiving a charter. We've reviewed this from the Virginia Company. Okay? Now, we've already established that Plymouth itself, the major focus is religion. But again, here comes the Virginia Company again. So they're looking to turn a profit. I would include a $sign next to Plymouth as well. That's not the main reason, but the charter is coming from an economic group. Okay, it's coming from that Shark Tank theory. We want to turn a profit on this. Here are some resources. Let's roll. By the end of the 17th century, became part of the colony of Massachusetts.
For the investors, like for the Shark Tank theory, if like for Jamestown, since it burnt down, do they get their money back, or did they lose that all?
What could happen, because there are no stay laws here, meaning if I give you a charter and you bankrupt on my loan, you could be sent to prison for the remainder of your life.
Yeah.
So that's basically the conditions we're looking at here. Now, obviously, they're not. It's not all doom and gloom in the New World as far as issuing a charter. We understand there's not much you can do about that, especially if you're low on resources.
Yeah.
So it would almost be like a reset component, though some people in certain circumstances would serve prison time for this. Okay? Again, high risk, high reward, though. Okay? Moving forward. Again, this is all going to be available later if you're not keeping the pace. Massachusetts Bay Colony. Started as a commercial adventure. Boom, we're going right up here, $sign. Okay? Commercial adventure, 1630, became home to many Puritans who fled England. Uh-oh, now we got to add our cross. Anytime Puritans are mentioned, it becomes religious. Okay? Starts, though, as a commercial adventure. Okay? So that being said, the Puritans, why are they leaving England?
Because they want to get away from the church.
Religious freedom.
Religious freedom, separation from the church. What is their primary issue with the Anglican Church?
The leader is the King of England.
The leader is the King of England, absolutely, and the fact that annulments are now okay. Okay, if you want to purify and essentially make all of those sacraments exceptionally important, an annulment would not probably be the first thing that they're saying, yeah, let's keep that. Okay, John Winthrop, we've heard of him before. Winthrop University sometimes makes your NCAA tournament. Okay, John Winthrop, Calvinist leader. Calvinism is your church. Develop the colony into a theocracy. Whoa, wait a minute here. Okay? Now, this is in your objective, the how and why. How are they settling? Politically speaking, they have a theocracy. What is a theocracy?
It's ruled by religion.
A government that is ruled by religion. Are theocracies still in existence to this day?
Yes.
Yes, primarily where are they located, though?
Islamic countries.
Islamic countries in the Middle East, absolutely. Northern Africa, excellent. Okay, it became the first colony to establish a basis of representative government. So we have a theocratic government based on Puritanism, Calvinism, that has a representative government. This would be a good example, Massachusetts Bay Company, of how they vary in their political structures. Because you won't see this system in each of your colonies as we're covering them. I would look to the Massachusetts Bay Colony for that example.
What's a basis? Like what would be a basis?
The basis of their political system, you could say representative theocracy.
Okay.
All right, that's what I would look to for that objective. Other New England colonies: Connecticut, driven by fur trade, dollar sign off to the side here. New Hampshire and Maine, originated two Englishmen, were given a grant to settle the lands. Economic, we're still driven by the fur trade. If you look to the north there, New Hampshire will become an independent royal colony in 1679, Maine 1820. So eventually they'll split, but at their first inception, they are united. Rhode Island, Roger Williams was banished from Massachusetts for his advocacy of separation of church and state. Well, if you look at that, Massachusetts is a theocracy. Anyone who says that religion shouldn't belong in government, in a theocratic government, is probably going to be kicked out rather fast, right? Because essentially what you're saying there is the government is backwards, wrong, and completely inept. Thus, you've been essentially labeled a heretic here, okay? 1663, Parliament granted Rhode Island a charter for religious freedom. I would have Rhode Island as a religious colony. All right? Any questions? Keep to your symbol system, okay? Because this is going to give you more clarity when you are forced to compare and contrast both on your objective sheet as well as on the test. All right? Anytime, this is a study habit, anytime you can reduce something to a symbol system, it yields organization instantly. Okay. Middle colonies, New York. Created as a result of commercial wars between the English and the Dutch. Now again, what was this called beforehand?
New Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam, New Netherlands. This is originally settled by the Dutch, but here's where it becomes English now. Okay, fur trade, boom, we have dollar signs. Okay, Duke of York, this is where New York is coming from. The Duke of York appealed to his brother King Charles II, supplied him the fleet, captured New Netherlands, 1664, naming it after himself. Why not, right? You conquered the land, it's yours. Okay, New Jersey, property of the Duke of York. 1702, Quakers rallied, granted charter for the crown. Who are the Quakers? Religious separatists as well. Okay? So, oatmeal?
Yeah.
They were oat farmers? No. Okay, religious separatists. Again, looking to the purification of that church. Moving forward, Pennsylvania, William Penn. Sanctuary for the Quakers. What do you think, religious or economic?
Religious.
Religious. Now, one thing I want you to have down here is this is known as Penn's Woods. Obviously, has anyone ever driven through Pennsylvania? Entire sections are absolutely beautiful. Okay, the landscape is just beautiful, and obviously trees are everywhere. Thus, it's Penn's Woods. It's a sanctuary. It's an area of religious freedom. Okay, an Enlightenment idea has settled a colony now. Delaware, settled by Sweden, lost to the Dutch, finally possessed by the English and the Duke of York. William Penn will purchase this because he's concerned his settlers do not have access to the sea. So, what do you think here? Economic or religious?
Economic.
Economic?
Kind of both, isn't it?
Kind of both, exactly. I would have economic first because of the concern in the very last subpoint, but William Penn is involved, so there's a religious implication there. Excellent job. You all are knocking this out well. Any questions? And if my religious symbolism here offends you, you can create some other form of symbol. I don't want to step on anyone's toes or impose any kind of ideas. Okay? Southern colonies. Maryland, Refuge for Catholics by Lord Baltimore. Religious or economic?
Religious.
Religious instantly. Okay? Now this is an iconic one. This is one that I would use to compare and contrast the settlement of this colony of religious nature maybe to that of Penn's Woods. They're both settled for the same, or Pennsylvania, excuse me. They're both settled for the same reason as far as religious freedom, but one is Catholic, the other is Quaker and primarily freedom of religion. All right, hence Baltimore, the capital city. All right, Baltimore ran his colony into fiefdom. What is a fief? Or a fief? Fiefdom. Anyone? Remember feudalism?
Yeah.
Okay, feudalism would be land that was granted to you, and basically you lived under a feudal structure, giving vassals. Again, that's the next title of feudalism that would come to fruition there. Maryland's political system established a bicameral legislature. We've heard of that before, right?
Yep.
That's what we use now. Okay, this is an example that you could have political systems. How are they varying? They have a bicameral legislature. All right, we will have examples as we move forward and actually construct our own federal government of the successfulness of this. Maryland Toleration Act, granting religious freedom to all Christians and punished anyone who made anti-religious transgressions. That is a big idea. This is the first example of actual law being drafted in the New World granting religious freedom. Now, is this total religious freedom?
No.
No. That is something that must be noted. Religious freedom to Christians. Okay? This is unique to this colony because of the fact that it's originally founded as a safe haven for Catholics. Protestant Reformation, we can see that sometimes those two sides clash, right? The Carolinas. Colonists received land grants for their help in the English Civil War. Roundheads and Cavaliers. 1929, massive Carolina colony split into North and South. Strong emphasis on slavery to boost their economies. Okay? Economic. Cash crops specifically. We're not concerned with the fur trade to the south. We're concerned with cash crops. What's that?
Tobacco.
Tobacco and indigo. With tobacco and indigo.
What's indigo?
Indigo is a crop that's primarily used to make dyes, which is where you get the color from. Okay? Georgia, the most unique of your colonies. Question mark. Began as a penal colony. What is a penal colony? Australia also began as a penal colony.
Oh, it's where we sent our, not ours, but their prisoners.
Right. Prisons are overflowing in London. Prisons are overflowing in the United Kingdom. We need somewhere to send them. Why not the New World? Okay? You escape from prison, where are you going to go? Back to England? Probably not. You've been labeled a prisoner. Okay, you're not just going to board a ship and head back to the mother country. You'll settle there. Your problem has been alleviated if you escape. Good luck surviving. Same theory with Australia. If you escape the coastline where the bulk of your cities are in Australia, what's in the direct center? A desert. I hope you can survive with the Aborigines. Okay, most people will not last days there. Some people struggle with hours of being out there with dehydration. Okay, but look at this first bullet point. Began as a penal colony, where originally rum, Catholics, and blacks are banned.
Rum, like
The drink.
The alcohol, yeah.
that's a weird group. Like it's
Okay.
like rum and then like,
Rum, Catholics,
group of people.
and blacks. Primarily speaking, the slaves are hailing from where? Africa. Okay? So typically let's analyze this. Who would the blacks being applied to here? Slaves or non-enslaved? Non-enslaved individuals. Because we have freedom of, or the non-existence of slavery all across Europe during this time period. It exists in areas, but for the most part, if you fit a demographic, that didn't necessarily make you a slave. Okay? Georgia also uses the first line of defense against Spanish Florida. St. Augustine's down there. Okay? This is a component of foreign diplomacy. When the number of convicts proved too great, Georgia welcomed Protestants and skilled craftsmen from England, Scotland, and Germany. Only when you have an outnumbering of, let's just say, 2 to 1 prisoners to settlers. Obviously, that kind of ratio could become an issue should some form of an issue arrive within the plantations themselves, plantation camps. Any questions? Okay, here's your objective. Now we know how to partition this up. You need 2 colonies. All right, within your 2 colonies here, and you'll have the remainder of the hour to work on this. You'll have 2 colonies. You have to talk about how they varied as far as their origins, how they were settled. Again, we're going to go ahead and put cross $sign there. That's what you're addressing there. Why was it settled? Okay. Oh yeah, absolutely. Go for Georgia, because that's one that just, you could compare anything to Georgia, and Georgia's so vastly different as far as why it was settled. That's a great example. Okay. Social structures, responsibilities of the people, society itself. Is it religiously driven or is it just economically driven? Okay. Again, you go back to your plus sign with that and describe it a little bit further. Political systems, bicameral legislatures, theocracies, representative governments. That's what you're looking for there. Any questions? Excellent.